Okay, here I'm going to take the inverses of these quadratic equations. It's work a little bit different. And basically, we're going to be solving these using the square root method. Okay, so keep in mind, we're not trying to find actual solutions to x's. We're just rewriting the equation as its inverse. Okay, so again, first step, switch x and y. So y becomes x, and x becomes y. Okay, now we got to make this y inverse. So I'm going to write it a little different. So y to the negative 1 for inverse, then square it. 7. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract 7 both sides. And then we get x minus 7 equals y inverse squared. Now to get rid of a square root, we got a square, we got to take the square root both sides. Now all the square root does is it gets rid of the power. So we're left with y inverse, and that's what we want. Okay, so now we can't take a square root of x minus 7, so we'll just rewrite it. Okay, now remember, every time we take a square root both sides, it's plus or minus. All right, so this one is y, the y inverse here is the plus or minus the square root of negative 7. Okay, and the reason it is plus or minus, just a quick example, if we make a graph here, let's say we have a parabola that looks like this, and it doesn't reflect the actual equation, but it's just to show. And let's say we take the inverse of this. So we already know inverses do something like this. Okay, so remember your y equals x line. Okay, so that right opening parabola, basically what it is that this here is the positive part of the x minus 7, and this here is the negative part of the x minus 7. So it kind of builds the parabola using two square root functions, the positive and the negative. And the negative is just a reflection across the x-axis. Okay, on the next one, same thing. It's just an extra step involved because we have parentheses squared and we have to deal with the x plus 1 underneath. Okay, so same situation. Y becomes x, and then x becomes y plus 1 squared. Make that the y inverse. There's a minus 4 there. All right, so let's go ahead and solve this. So I'm going to add 4 both sides. Get rid of that 4. So I got x plus 4 equals y inverse plus 1 squared, square root both sides. Okay, gets rid of that 2. So now I got y inverse plus 1, and I get plus or minus square root x plus 4. So we have 4 there. Okay. So now I have this extra step where I have this plus 1 with my y inverse. So now I can get rid of this 1. So I'm going to subtract 1 both sides. Okay, so now I have my y inverse by itself. That's what we want. Now I can't subtract 1 from a plus or minus square root. So what we do is put it up front, plus or minus square root of x plus 4.